Okay, let me ask you all a question. What are some notable Nicktoons that came out in the 90s? Let's see. We had Rugrats, The Ren and Stimpy Show, Doug, Rocko's Modern Life, Hey Arnold, The Wild Thornberrys, The Angry Beavers, Cat Dog, SpongeBob SquarePants, and Rocket Power, just to name a few. Okay, what about the Nicktoons we got in the 2000s? Well, we had The Adventures of Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius, The Fairly Odd Parents, Danny Phantom, Invader Zim, Avatar The Last Airbender, My Life as a Teenage Robot, All Grown Up, As Told by Ginger, Chalk Zone, Cat Scratch, LT Greer, and The X's. And yes, I know that most of these shows are long forgotten, but that's not the point. It doesn't matter which shows are fondly remembered, and which shows have become long forgotten. What matters is the number of cartoons Nickelodeon had, and as you can see, Nickelodeon had a lot of cartoons in both the 90s and 2000s. Now, let's see how many Nicktoons we have nowadays. SpongeBob SquarePants, The Loud House, and the Casa Grandes. Is this some kind of joke? Hopefully it is. Surely these can't be the only Nicktoons we have nowadays. I mean, 2 of the 3 cartoons are literally the same fucking thing. There has to be other Nicktoons they have nowadays. What about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2012? Okay, what about its successor, Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Well then, how about Harvey Beaks? Welcome to the Wayne? Oh for fuck's sake. Glitch Tex, please, you are my only hope. You were destined to become the true savior of Nickelodeon. I had faith in you, and I still do. Please Glitch Tex, do not betray me. Ugh, as if being on Netflix instead of Nickelodeon wasn't bad enough. Then again, why am I surprised that it's being ignored? And why do I think that the show would get more attention had it aired on Nickelodeon? I'm sorry, but what the fuck is this? And why is the cartoon community perfectly okay with it? How do you go from having a variety of different Nicktoons, to only having 3 Nicktoons, with 2 of them literally being the exact same thing? This is pathetic. Even during the early 2010s, aka the quote-unquote dark age of Nickelodeon, there was still a semblance of variety. Yes, most of the shows weren't that good, but I fail to see how this is worse than what we have nowadays. I would rather have a network that has a variety of bad shows, over a network that has little to no shows at all. I know that what I just said will get me a lot of backlash from the cartoon community, but come the fuck on. There's no way you can look at this and not see anything wrong with it. This just proves how hypocritical the cartoon community is as well. Why are they okay with Nickelodeon only airing these 3 shows and nothing else? Yet they got their panties in a twist when Cartoon Network only aired Teen Titans Go and nothing else. Don't waste your time making up bullshit excuses like, Nickelodeon airs 3 shows, while Cartoon Network only airs 1 show. That means Nickelodeon is better, or, the few cartoons that Nickelodeon air are actually good, unlike Teen Titans Go, which as we all know, is the worst abomination ever made in the history of mankind. Please, shut the fuck up. You're a fucking hypocrite. Accept it. Besides, it's not fucking 2017 anymore. Cartoon Network doesn't milk Teen Titans Go anymore, and if they are still milking it, then it's nowhere near as bad as it was in 2017 or 2018. Cartoon Network actually has more variety in the shows they air nowadays. Meanwhile, Nickelodeon has been relying solely on SpongeBob and the Loud House since 2017, and they have not gotten any better whatsoever. The only new Nicktoon they've added to their schedule is the Casa Grandes, which is literally the same exact fucking thing as the Loud House, meaning that adding the Casa Grandes into the mix changes absolutely nothing at all. It's amazing how when the Loud House was brand new, everyone thought that it would be the savior of Nickelodeon, that it would potentially bring new, great cartoons onto a network that at the time had SpongeBob as its only successful show. Everyone had high hopes that it would be the first of many great Nicktoons, and then, it ended up betraying the entire cartoon community by becoming just like SpongeBob. Except this time, it completely destroyed every other non-SpongeBob Nicktoon, and prevented them from getting the attention they deserve. So now, instead of only having 1 cash cow, Nickelodeon has 2 cash cows. I must ask, what the hell happened? Where did the variety go? I've brought this up before in another video, but I have a massive collection of Nickelodeon DVDs, and among these DVDs are the Nick Picks series, or as I like to call them, proof that Nickelodeon used to give a shit about their cartoons. These DVDs contain a ton of Nicktoons from the 2000s. SpongeBob SquarePants, Danny Phantom, My Life as a Teenage Robot, Rugrats and All Grown Up, The Adventures of Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius, The Fairly Odd Parents, you name it, and hell, there are even some long forgotten Nicktoons included on some of the DVDs, such as Cat Scratch or The X's. For fuck's sake, even Mr. Meaty, that weird ass puppet show that literally nobody remembers, had an episode included on one of these DVDs. If these DVDs came out nowadays, they would only have episodes from these 3 Nicktoons and nothing else. No Harvey Beaks, no Welcome to the Wayne, no Rise of the TMNT, no Glitched Tex, nothing. Absolutely nothing. But these 3 fucking shows, nothing else. And the cartoon community is somehow perfectly okay with this. Well, I'm done. I'm so fucking done. It's honestly baffling how much of a joke this network has become. Wait, what's that? You want more proof that Nickelodeon used to care about their shows? Well, let me give you 3 simple words. Nicktoons. Fucking unite. Yes indeed, the Nicktoons Unite game series is further proof that Nickelodeon gave a shit about their cartoons at one point in time. Nicktoons Unite, Nicktoons Battle for Volcano Island, Nicktoons Attack of the Toy Box, and Nicktoons Glogs of Doom. These games were my fucking childhood, and they still hold up surprisingly well to this day. In fact, dare I say it, the Nicktoons Unite series is better than the Avengers series. Sorry, but it's the truth. Okay, but seriously, you will never see another one of these games happen ever again, unless you want to see a video game crossover between SpongeBob SquarePants and the Loud House happen, in which case, I've already made it clear in the past why a crossover between the 2 shows could never work at all. It wouldn't work as a cartoon crossover, and it sure as hell wouldn't work as a video game crossover. And I know what everyone is going to say. What about the recent Nickelodeon crossover games like Super Brawl Universe or the Nickelodeon Kart Racer games? Well, here's the thing. Even though these games are crossovers, there is still one flaw that they have, and this flaw is what makes these games different from the older Nickelodeon crossover games like the Nicktoons Unite series or Nicktoons Racing. Let's use Nickelodeon Kart Racers 2 as an example. Take a nice long look at this roster. Pause the video if you must. Notice anything? No? Well, let me explain what's wrong. This fucking roster consists of almost nothing but classic Nickelodeon characters, with the only modern Nicktoons represented being the Loud House, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2012, The Legend of Korra, and fuck it, I'm counting it, JoJo Siwa. The least they could have done was add the TMNT from Rise of the TMNT, instead of the TMNT from the 2012 series. But no, they couldn't even do that. The reason why this is a bad thing is because it proves that Nickelodeon doesn't have any fresh or new cartoons whatsoever when it comes to representing modern Nicktoons for anything. The only shows that Nickelodeon represent are the Loud House, and, to a lesser extent, TMNT 2012. There are no characters from Harvey Beaks or Welcome to the Wayne or Glitched Tex anywhere on this roster. It especially doesn't make sense for Glitched Tex. I haven't gotten the chance to watch Glitched Tex since I deleted Netflix when the controversy surrounding the movie that shall not be named ensued. But doesn't it heavily revolve around video games? If so, then why didn't they add characters from that show into the game? And no, people watching this, it's not because of the fact that it's on Netflix. Nickelodeon owns the rights to the show and produces it, while Netflix only distributes it. Glitched Tex is a Nicktoon that doesn't air on Nickelodeon, but a Nicktoon nonetheless. It's such a missed opportunity, because, not only would it make sense given what the show is about, but it would also give more exposure to the show, so that more people could watch it. No, instead we get, not 1, but 3 fucking Loud House characters, as well as JoJo Siwa. Are you kidding me? Look, I'm not saying I don't want classic Nickelodeon characters in the game, but what I would rather have is a balance between classic and modern Nickelodeon characters. It's almost like Nickelodeon is self-aware. Like yeah, we don't have any new Nicktoons whatsoever, so for this new racing game, we'll just include the old shows that we had when we were good. The fact that they've been bringing back their older shows in one way or another further proves my point. Would it really hurt this network to have some new, fresh cartoons? You have 4 cartoons that you choose to do absolutely nothing with one of them having little to no chance of ever getting resurrected, seeing how its creator has moved on to do other projects. Mark my words, these 4 shows will soon receive the Invader Zim treatment. Invader Zim was a short-lived Nicktoon that was neglected by Nickelodeon until its cancellation. Eventually, the show garnered a cult following that grew more and more, to the point where it is now considered a hidden gem in Nickelodeon's library of cartoons, as well as a Nicktoon that deserved better. I guarantee you that something similar will happen to these 4 shows, though I kinda doubt it, because there's one thing that makes Invader Zim different from these 4 shows. Invader Zim was neglected by Nickelodeon, while these 4 shows were neglected by both Nickelodeon and the cartoon community. Gee, I wonder why the cartoon community ignored these 4 shows and left them to die. What would cause them to do such a thing? The world may never know, unfortunately. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. There's that upcoming Nickelodeon fighting game that's in the style of the Super Smash Bros. Series. I can't wait to see it further prove that Nickelodeon has no new Nicktoons whatsoever. When the game was first leaked, I made a prediction that almost every character in the game will be from a 90s or 2000s Nicktoon, with the only modern Nicktoons represented being the Loud House and TMNT 2012. Well, I was right on the money with Loud House, and I was kinda right with TMNT, but it appears to be the TMNT from the original 80s cartoon, and not the TMNT from the 2012 or Rise of the TMNT cartoons. Maybe the 2012 and Rise iterations could appear as alternate skins, but I sincerely doubt it. In all honesty, a Nickelodeon Smash Bros. Game would have been fucking awesome in the late 2000s or early 2010s, but in 2021, forget it. There's no point. It's probably gonna be just like the Nickelodeon kart racer games. Soulless games that lack the charm that the older Nicktoon crossover games had. And that's another problem the Nickelodeon kart racer games have. They're not awful or anything like that. They're playable, but they're also seriously devoid of life. Look at Nicktoons Racing, and compare it to the first Nickelodeon kart racers, and you'll see a huge difference between the 2 games. Nicktoons Racing showcased how fun and full of life Nickelodeon was back then, while Nickelodeon kart racers showcases how dull and lifeless Nickelodeon is nowadays. It's embarrassing seeing a game from 2018 somehow be worse than a game from 2000. I'll still pick up Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl when it comes out, and I am a little optimistic that it won't be as soulless as the Nickelodeon kart racer games, but at the same time, it honestly wouldn't surprise me if Cartoon Network ended up having the better Smash Bros. Clone. Look on the bright side though, we've gotten 2 Nickelodeon racing games, and now we're getting a Nickelodeon Smash Bros. Game. If we continue on with this pattern, we will probably be getting a Nickelodeon party game sometime soon. In which case, at least it'll most likely be better than the previous Nickelodeon party game on home consoles. But at the same time, it'll be extremely embarrassing if a Flash game from the early 2010s ends up being better. Now that I think about it, the same thing could be said for Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl. Anyways, that's pretty much it in regards to the lack of variety, but Nickelodeon still has a massive problem regarding their content nowadays, and I think I've been making it somewhat clear during the latter portion of this segment. Nickelodeon is now doing something that both Cartoon Network and Disney have been doing in recent years. So, let us discuss the other massive problem Nickelodeon has with their content nowadays.